Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the SBK Betting Podcast. I'm Adam Baylis, filling in for Jess Stafford while she clocks up the air miles on holiday. And speaking of air miles, I'm joined by two guys that are no strangers to foreign soil, Mr. Tom Collins and Ross Millar. TC joining us live from Saudi Arabia today. Are you well?
Yes, I thought you were. I am well. I'm up in Taif right now. Second day of the Taif meeting since I've flown out to Saudi. Different climate. I don't have that standard blue picture in the background, but I'm looking forward to getting stuck into the UK action. My knowledge is now far and wide with Saudi, US and UK, but hopefully that doesn't take away from the UK winners.
Glad to hear it. Ross, I trust the French provinces are treating you well.
Yeah, we've had a nice bit of weather this week actually, Adam, and having been in the UK weekend before last and got absolutely drenched, it's not come a moment too soon, to be honest. So yeah, enjoying the sunshine, but looking forward to an exciting week's racing.
Good stuff, good stuff. Now, there's obviously a lot to get through, but before we get into this weekend's racing action, it would be remiss of me not to tell you about a stellar SBK offer to celebrate the start of the Premier League season. That's right, SBK are offering all customers a completely free bet builder on Saturday's football. So if you've watched or listened to this podcast for a while and always wondered what SBK is about, this is the perfect opportunity to sign up and give it a whirl. It's a completely free bet builder on Saturday's football. So go and check it out. Right, on to this weekend's racing action. And we'll start with Saturday's sole Group 1, the Keenland Phoenix Stakes over at the Curragh. 7 go to post with, I'm going to try and get this right, Bucanero Fuerte and Unquestionable, both priced at 5-2 with SBK and Porta Fortuna at 3-1. Give me the beat boys at 6s, and it's 18-1 bar. TC, we'll start with you. What do you like?
Yeah, it's a really interesting renewal of the Phoenix Stakes. Really good race. We've got the Albany winner, we've got the Coventry fourth, and we have the first and second from the Railway Stakes. Bucanero Fuerte won that race, beating Unquestionable. I think that's the best piece of form on offer rather than the two pieces of Royal Ascot form. And although Bucanero Fuerte won, and many people will think he'll confirm the form with Unquestionable, I think Unquestionable actually ran the better race that day. He was positioned further behind Bucanero Fuerte, challenged furthest away from the rail, and actually hit the front when asked for maximum effort. Only late on did his effort peter out and Bucanero Fuerte re-rallied to pass Unquestionable. He's a bigger price. I've got to take Unquestionable for Aidan O'Brien, who's got just a fantastic record in these kind of races in Ireland.
Okay, nice. Ross, do you agree or disagree?
I disagree actually. I wouldn't have Unquestionable to reverse the form with Bucanero Fuerte for exactly what TC said. He got to the front, and I don't like horses that when they get to the front so close to home, get re-headed. For me, that's a huge feather in the cap of, let's go for it, Bucanero Fuerte, or the ammo horse as he might be known going forward. And I just didn't like that in Unquestionable. I think once you get to the front that close to home at the Curragh, you should go and win your race, and he didn't. I take on board that the ammo horse did have the rail to help him, but even so, I just don't see with any confidence that Unquestionable would reverse the form. So I could overlook those two though. I like Porta Fortuna. I was against her at Ascot because I thought she showed so much speed that she'd have been better off going over 5 furlongs, and it was the speed she showed that won of the race at Ascot. And I think dropping back to this easier track is not going to harm her. And the Albany form has worked out really well. Matrika won a Group 2 the next time. 4th place won a Group 2 the next time. Soprano in 3rd is the only disappointing filly, but she raced an enlisted contest which she should have won, but the ground was against her on that occasion. I think you can forgive that. So Porta Fortuna was one I was really interested in, but just at a slightly bigger price, and one that I'm prepared to give another chance to is Give Me the Beat Boys, who ran really well in the Coventry, probably on the wrong side of the track, even though that's where the winner River Tiber came from. And I actually thought it was him taking on River Tiber that meant he faded into 4th. He was given quite an aggressive ride on a stiff track, really served it up to Aidan O'Brien's colt, and then sort of weakened in the closing sort of 100 yards and faded into 4th. I have him right up there. I don't think he would have been 4th if he'd have raced in the middle of the track. I think dropping back to this slightly easier track will suit. I think he'll get a slightly more conservative ride. Smaller field might suit. And I just thought at a bigger price, given there's very little to choose between the front 3, and they're very hard to separate out other than Porta Fortuna does get that valuable £3 allowance, I'd just go with a bigger price and a colt who I think has got as much ability as these, and it's just a bigger price, because He's got a bit to find with His Majesty on a line through His Majesty. He's got a bit to find with Bucanero Fuerte Unquestionable. He beat His Majesty about a length on his second run in a maiden over this course and distance. But that was only his second run. He's going to have come forward a huge amount for Ascot, and I just think he's got perhaps a little bit more juice in his price than the three ahead of him.
Yeah, for sure. Any ground concerns, Ross? I suppose he won his maiden on soft, didn't he?
Won his maiden on soft, and I don't think the sire minds a bit of dig in the ground, so no ground concerns for any of the front three, really, or front four as it would be. I think it's going to be the best juvenile contest we've seen so far this year.
Bold statements. For what it's worth, I'll be mowing the lawn when this is on. I've got absolutely no idea what wins. Like as Ross said, the front sort of 3 or 4 in the market are all much of a muchness. So it's one I'm definitely happy to leave. Right, turning our attention to the other sort of domestic action, Haydock and Newmarket. Anything that takes your fancy there, Ross?
Yeah, one at Newmarket, but that comes in my next best. I thought it was actually slim pickings away from Curragh, really, in terms of races I'd be interested in. So no, nothing else.
Okay, TC.
Again, just for my next best, I'm going to Haydock, but it's a really good day of racing on Saturday for the punter. You know, there are plenty of opportunities to make some money. We've got group racing at the Curragh, Haydock and Newmarket. We've got the Shergar Cup at Ascot. There's a lot going on, lots of different events as well with the jockeys coming over at Ascot. So I'm looking forward to the action.
Let's talk about the Shergar Cup, Quilly. Is it one just for the racing sickos, or you know, are you a fan, TC?
I don't mind it. I really don't mind it because this is an opportunity for jockeys to come across that wouldn't ever come across otherwise. The likes of João Moreira, Berzan Mazabayev is coming across, Olivier Pellier, the French veteran who must be one of the richest men in horse racing right now. They're all coming across to Ascot to race against the likes of Frankie Dettori, Holly Doyle, etc. So it's an opportunity for us to see talent in the saddle from across the world that we wouldn't otherwise witness. You know, the Breeders' Cup's fantastic, the Melbourne Cup. There are other opportunities for international jockey feel. But Shergar Cup seems to be out on its own as this kind of event. And yeah, I know some people don't like it. You know, the purists don't like it at all. But we've got 6 highly competitive handicaps. I'm all for it, Adam.
Glad to hear it. Ross, any Shergar Cup thoughts?
Just echo what TC said. I think we're such a fickle bunch, aren't we? We moan about the lack of innovation in racing. For sure, this hasn't blown the doors off in terms of innovation, but if you think we're trying to attract a younger audience, and I think we need to go younger. I think this goes for teenagers. If we're leaving it that late, we've lost it. But young kids, I mean, I take my young children, 8 and 6 now. I mean, they were going racing when they were 5 and 3, and it's the colours and it's the speed and it's the. I mean, Arthur, my little lad, went to Worcester one evening and Noel Feely rode 3 winners. Noel Feely's the greatest jockey that's ever lived, according to him. You know, probably not wrong in some ways, but they attach themselves to names. If you think these young kids going to Ascot get to see world-class jockeys from all around the world, who are probably a bit more accessible because of the nature of the makeup of the meeting, it can only be a good thing. And I have actually got 2 from Newmarket, possibly a bet builder in the nursery, and it's Slevin, trained by Ralph Beckett, and Magic Light, trained by Richard Hannon. Run-off marks are 71 and 75, first time in nurseries. I always like horses from astute yards, which I class both of those as, stepping up in distance on nursery debut. Both finished really well over 6 furlongs, now step up to 7 furlongs. So maybe Slevin and Magic Light to finish in the first 3 at Newmarket in the nursery.
Okay, nice. I've not got prices for either just yet, but I mean, yeah, both are very competitive nurseries. Obviously, a massively competitive day of racing. Ross, where does your best bet of the day come from?
TC will probably log off now. The best bet of the day, the nap, is in the 5:55 from Kilbeggan. Not a normal hunting ground for me. But this horse has been in my tracker. It's a horse called Black Tonic, now with Richard O'Brien. Has been in my tracker since finishing 4th on his penultimate start at Warwick for Tom Weston. Was ridden very cold and finished very well from a long way back. He'd been very buzzy and very keen, and clearly riding him out the back had been the plan to get him to settle. He was perhaps a bit disappointing when ridden a little bit more prominently on his next start in the UK. finishing fourth, but in a decent race, and probably ran to his mark of about 100. Since gone to Ireland, Richard O'Brien, he was ridden far more forward last time and bolted with Dennis O'Regan, got tired late on and actually tipped up at the last. But he went far further into the race going the speed he was going than I thought he should have. He's off a mark of 93, which is no mark at all. Got a good amateur jumping on in a weak contest. I expect him to be ridden far more conservatively this time, find some cover, get him settled. Crucially, his jumping over the fixed hurdles at Ireland last time were far better than his hurdling had been in the UK. I know TC doesn't like them when they've tipped up last time. It doesn't worry me. I think he's well handicapped, and I'd be expecting him to gain compensation for last time. And then my next best is in the 340, the Sweet Solera Stakes horse I've already mentioned, actually, a Soprano, who was disappointing last time. I really expected her to win that 7 furlong listed contest, but the ground had gone against her. She just couldn't get her feet out of it. She's got a lovely low action, slightly better ground at Newmarket, back on a course where she was really impressive on her debut. I think Soprano will get back on track and win the Sweet Solera, the 340 at Newmarket.
What's the reasoning for turning around the form with Fallen Angel there, Ross?
Purely ground. She just got absolutely stuck in the ground, couldn't pick up. At Ascot, she was ridden too far back to my mind in the Albany Stakes, came up the middle of the track, had to navigate a lot of traffic and was finishing really, really well. 7 furlongs isn't the issue. Going into last time, into the listed contest, trainer had said that the ground was an unknown. You can understand them running on it because the number of times horses act on ground that they shouldn't act on. I think you've got to be brave in these situations. She clearly didn't act on it, and I think she will get better ground at Newmarket. It does tend to be a sort of subtropic, and I expect her to get back to winning ways.
Okay, great. I mean, she's obviously still £5 better rated than Fallen Angel anyway, so let's see how she gets on. It'll be no surprise to anyone that I don't have a price for Ross's selection from Kilbeggan as of yet. However, Soprano is currently 10-3 with SBK, so let's see how she gets on for SBK ambassador George Bowie. TC, over to you. Best bet of the weekend?
Well, first of all, I can't even believe that Ross has, one, tipped a horse that didn't negotiate the obstacles last time, but also tipped a horse at Kilbeggan. I promise you, did not realise that Kilbeggan were even racing on Saturday. This is like me saying my nap comes in the 10:55 at Colonial Downs. By the way, Didier will win that race. We'll stick to the UK racing, 2:45 at Ascot for the nap, and that's going to be Pride of Priory. Now, William Haggis seems to have a stranglehold on this race. He's got Pride of Priory and La Yakel. The latter actually dominates the market at the moment and will be ridden by Jean Moreira. But I prefer Pride of Priory, who hasn't won since taking this race 12 months ago. Frankie Dettori takes the mount. And yes, he comes into this year's renewal with a completely different profile. 12 months ago, he'd won his last 2 starts on the all-weather. He was an improving horse, coming in off a mark of 92 on good to firm ground. This time, the ground might be on the soft side of good. He's lost his last 5 races and is now being a horse with doubts and worries. But he's well handicapped at his best. I think the return to Ascot will be the catalyst to some improvement. And actually, last time out of Ripon, I didn't think he ran all that badly either, given he was so far away from the favoured far side rail. So I'll take Pride of Priory, I think at around 4-1. And then the next best is another William Haggis trainee, a horse called Purple Pay in the 4:10 at Haydock. This filly was always considered really talented early in her career. She actually started her season as a 2-year-old out in France, and she was contesting Group 1 contests. Then William Haggis picked her up, and again, it was a case of Group 1, Group 2, and then 2 more Group 1s last year. William Haggis obviously thinks Purple Pay has a lot of ability, and although she did win a Group 2, she's often come short in Group 1 level. Now, Haggis, for some reason, decided to go for the Adabe route and send her out to Australia in the winter. Didn't work out. She didn't contest the finish in either of her 2 races, but she bounced back when she returned to the UK at Pontefract last time at listed level. She's running at listed level once again. She's rated 102, the second highest in the race. I just think she's far better than these if she's 100% fit. So Purple Pay in the 4:10 at Haydock is my next best.
Yeah, really, really nice little race actually, that TC. And I should point out Purple Pay's 13-2 currently with SBK. There's an absolute cliff horse in this for me. Brige. I can't tell you. I'm absolutely gagging for this thing to get its head in front. I was all over it at Goodwood last time. So if you want to combine my thoughts and TC, it could be one for a same race acca there in the 4 at at Haydock. And I should mention actually that SBK have another same race ACCA offer this weekend. If you bet £10 on a same race ACCA, you will get a £5 free horse racing bet. Just a reminder, same race ACCA is when you can combine multiple horses to place, or perhaps a horse to win and multiple horses to place in a single race. It's a nice little way of boosting your odds on a race where you might not be able to fall down on a specific winner. While we're talking about Haydock, guys, I must ask you about Al Arzi in the 3 o'clock Rose of Lancaster Stakes. Is this a boom or a bust?
It's a big question that I think probably boom, just because this horse has lots of back class, but you know there's a little bit of a worry now. He's not the most trustworthy, is he?
No, not at all. And it's still actually quite a deep contest. You know, the likes of Midnight Market really kind of kick on, and King of Conquest is obviously close on ratings. Ross, Al Arzi for you?
Yeah, probably, but I thought Phantom Flight, who was behind him last time, is a fair old price to chase him home again, I thought. TC's right. I mean, Al Arzi can't be trusted. Phantom Flight is probably a bit more reliable, but less talented. But I thought he was a big price given what he did last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I'm going to go over to Ascot and the Shergar Cup for my nap and next best. The nap is Law of the Sea in the 10 past 2 at Ascot, 10-1 with SBK currently. Off the same mark as when 4th in the Ascot Stakes back in June. So obviously isn't anywhere near as competitive, and he had to face pretty wide, race fairly wide that day from stall 17. Soft or good to soft ground would only enhance his claims. I think it's a great bet at 10-1 for all that the sun is shining. I'm not far from Ascot, so the ground conditions could improve a fair bit there. Next best, also at Ascot in the 135, is Bond Chairman for Brian Spart and João Moreira at around 7-1. Sources always there or thereabouts at the Berkshire track. Form figures of 4-4-4-3. That's not a football formation. Not beaten far by Intrinsic Bond here last time. He's waited to turn that around. I'd be pretty confident that João Moreira can work his magic from what's hopefully a pretty favourable draw in 11. Ground could be a question mark, but like I say, it's drying all the time. So we'll see how he gets on. And I actually think, you know, if you're playing in some of these Shergar Cup side markets, João Moreira could have a fantastic time of things. He's got a really good book of rides. For my money, you could go through the first 3 races. So fingers crossed for the Magic Man there. One final offer to flag for new SBK customers this weekend. If you bet £10, you will get £30 in free bets. That's new users only, and obviously T's and C's do apply. Right, guys, we've been around the world from Saudi Arabia to the French provinces to Kilbeggan. Let's just wrap up your best bets for the weekend one last time. TC, take it away.
Yeah, my nap is Pride of Priory over at Ascot at the Shergar Cup with Frankie Dettori on board, and my next best is Purple Pay, another one for William Haggis in the 410 at Haydock.
Ross?
I'm almost a bit embarrassed to speak now, but the nap is in the 355 from Kilbeggan, Black Tonic. The next best is in the 340 at Newmarket, the Sweet Slayer Stakes, and that's Soprano. They're the same race ACCA in the nursery from Newmarket with Slevin and Magic Light. Lovely stuff. Thank you both. Best of luck on what is a really, really busy weekend of racing, but some top quality stuff. And Jess will be back next weekend to guide you through in admirable form, and we'll hear all about it.